Welcome to the Emporium Outdoors. My name's Michael, and today we're going to be testing out the Pomoly Locomotive 2, and I also have the ground sheet. This is the first time using this winter tent, so it's going to be very interesting, and the conditions aren't the best. We've got a temperature of about -10 Celsius, and the wind's gusting to about 30 to 40 kilometers an hour, so it's going to make for an interesting setup. So sit back and enjoy watching me struggle put this tent up in the wind. Although I've owned a couple of tunnel tents in the past, this one's kind of unique because it does have the ability to have a hot stove inside it. Putting the tent up, I did find the poles going through the sleeves very tight indeed, especially the silver one, which is closest to the camera. That one was a bit of a pig to get in. I did also go ahead and buy the ground sheet because it does have that silicone barrier, which I thought was actually pretty neat. So I think it's going to be an interesting setup. Although I didn't stake out every point, I found I couldn't really stake the tent very tightly. A true winter tent should have snow skirts, which makes this process so much easier. You can just pull out the snow skirts, pile some snow on top, and that'll keep the tent rigid all night long. So just while I'm setting up the stove, let's go over what I'm going to be sleeping in tonight. One of my favourite sleeping pads is the Climate Insulate Static V Luxe sleeping pad, which I picked up from Cabela's. Awesome pad, my absolute go-to every time. And I'm using the Polar Ranger from Thermarest, which is a -30 Celsius sleeping bag. I don't think I'll be cold at all. I do enjoy using this little stove, but it can be a bit of a pain with the chimney parts. It's a rolled stove pipe, so you have to unroll a long piece of titanium and then turn it into a tube, and that can be a bit of a struggle when it's windy, your hands are cold, and you forgot your gloves at home. So welcome to the Emporium Outdoors. We are all set up finally. Took a bit of doing. Weather is pretty brutal, so this will be a good test of this tent because it is a tunnel style tent. It should be pretty good in the wind, but might have to put some earplugs in for later, I think. So we do have the ground sheet down. Got the two maps in the back right there. Hello Esme, hello Lizzie. And we have the stove set up, which I'm going to light in a second. But yeah, it's pretty windy. Let me show you around. So we've got the wood pile I brought with me, split that with my log splitter. And we have the stove all set up. And there's enough room to kind of set up in here, but that's about it. That's the problem with these smaller winter tents. In the winter time you tend to spend a lot of time inside the tent, and this really not being able to sit in a chair or do anything limits the comfort in this type of tent. But it's great just for hunkering down for a night. We'll see how we go. But yeah, seeing some snow coming in that rear flap. I need to go and secure right here. There's something magical about lighting a stove for the first time in a hot tent. It's when you come in from setting up the tent and you're freezing cold and your hands are wet and you need to get that thing going, and you know the heat's just going to be amazing. This wood is well seasoned and dry and should light very easily. Normally I'll have a couple of different fire lighting and fire starting equipment, but I think on this occasion I'll be just fine. So today I brought the Leatherman Signal with me. So I've been using this particular Leatherman now for a few months. So to test it, I've been swapping this with my other EDC every day to test out how it actually works as an everyday carry. Normally I carry the Leatherman T4, which I like very, very much. And you know what? I actually start to like the Signal a little bit more, which is crazy. And I think it's the unique things that I found with the Signal, just the ability to start a fire or to sharpen the blade with the built-in sharpener, really kind of swung it for me. Just gave me that more completeness as a, you know, what's going to happen today type of EDC carry. So I think I'm probably going to switch to the Signal for the time being. Let's see if we can get this fire started. One Zippo. There we go. Well, that wasn't too bad. So, stove's actually working. It's actually quite warm in here. It's surprising actually. Seems to, even the big gaps around the bottom of the floor, still seems to retain the heat inside, so that's pretty good. We're going to be testing out this new flashlight that Wooben sent out to me. This is the EDC flashlight. It's smaller than I thought it is. It's kind of a smaller flashlight. It's got USB charging, and the on-off button is just on the top there. So I'll be testing this out tonight, but I really like the feel of it. It's very tactile. It's heavy. There's a nice magnet on the bottom, magnetic things. But yeah, I'll put all the stats as normal on the screen. But we'll see how she does tonight. It'll be very interesting. Okay, I think I'm going to try and get relaxed a little bit, get my pants dried off best I can. So I'm using the Princess Auto wool suit again. It's which is my kind of go-to right now. It's melting off quite well. I'll just be able to brush all the snow off. You can see at the bottom there where the gaps are. They've no chance of being oxygen or carbon monoxide poisoned or anything like that, because there's basically a draft blowing through. But little stuff's doing well. It's kicking out a lot of heat, which is good. I think I'm going to clip that up there. Know where it's going to be. Yeah, he's kicking out some serious heat now. So the dogs are asleep. Time is getting on a little bit. It's starting to get dark. Kept the fire going. We got plenty of wood, so I think we're looking good for this evening. I do like this little titanium stove. It's Dan shell. It's very easy to put together, and it does a really nice job of putting out a lot of heat for the size of it. So very glad I've got that with me today. So I think I'm going to sleep with the door partially zipped up. Keep some of the top open to let the heat in from the stove. It's kept pretty warm. I'm actually quite impressed. I think probably I would have pitched the other way around and had the stove end towards the wind rather than the tail to the wind, because the seems to be getting compressed and it's touching the inner, so that's not ideal really. But if I'd done it the other way, I probably wouldn't have had that issue. But that's the thing when you get a new tent, you just have to learn its quirks. Well, good morning. We made it through the night. It's around 6 o'clock, and I had to get up and feed the fire every couple of hours, but it actually works surprisingly well for a small tent. So it does work. The concept does work. Just wouldn't want to spend a lot of time in here. It's way too small. Like I say, in wintertime, you spend a lot of time in the tent, and not being able to sit up properly or sit in a chair or get comfortable is limits. But if you're backpacking or you're just spending the night somewhere, you just need to climb in and go to sleep and then get up or prepare a bit of food, then yeah, it works pretty good. The dogs are doing pretty good back there. There's Lizzie, Esme's back there too. So I just went outside and there's a lot of blown snow, so I'm starting to get a bit worried now that hopefully the Jeep can get out on these roads. But we'll cross that bridge when we have to. So next thing, I'm just going to pack up real quick. I'm just going to ball the tent up, throw it in the back because I've got to dry it anyway, so I'm not too fussed about that. But I think we need to start thinking about moving along. Okay, let's see if we can get out of here. Okay, let's go into off-road plus mode. Yeah, quite a bit of blown snow. Okay, so we made it out. It's quite a relief, so we can head down the road and we'll maybe catch up in a little while. Well, I hope you've enjoyed the video with the new Pomoly tent. It was very interesting to try something new that I hadn't tried before, a hot tunnel tent. If you're looking for an ultralight, stable solution for winter camping, this might be for you, but remember, it's going to be a little bit cramped. So until next time, take care. And as always, thank you very much for watching. If you like my videos, leave me a comment, maybe a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe.